Do you actually know that being a good listener isn't so hard? It is actually pretty simple. You know why? Because when you're meeting somebody for the very first time, or you're getting to know somebody, or even if you're just conversing with someone that is your friend, or just an acquaintance of yours, or your relative, or your colleague, coworker, it's actually simple. You know how? You just have to keep your mouth shut and listen to whatever they're saying. Be present. You have to look into their eyes when they're talking. If your attention is wandering off, you're starting to lose presence with the person you're speaking with, then bring that back. Don't have thoughts about anything else in your brain, because that is just a distraction for you, and this will not help you talk to this person, because they may mention certain things, but with your thoughts being elsewhere, you may not remember some of the things they have said, which is why when your attention diverts, you have to bring it back towards this person. You have to bring it back. When this person is talking to you, be your girlfriend, be your colleague, be your friend, be your parents, be your uncle, auntie, whatever. If somebody's talking to you about something and you're just getting into detail with them, then you can ask them questions. If you're really interested or not. You can ask them questions on whatever they're saying, but not interrupting them. Do not interrupt them. Because if you interrupt them while they're in the middle of a sentence, then you unintentionally derail their train of thought. Once you finish your question, they will start answering what you have asked for, and they may forget where they were going originally, but you derailed it. So never interrupt somebody when they're talking. We all have that urge. I struggled with this for a while. We all have that urge that we just want to interrupt. We just want to ask a question. We just want to say something. Have our say in some situation. We just want to interrupt them. We just want to have our say in some situation. Just fight the urge to open your mouth. Just fight that urge. It's gonna save you lots of time, and it's gonna potentially save you misunderstandings with this person. Because let's be honest here, derailing somebody's train of thought, interrupting somebody when they're talking to you, it's not nice. And if you do it constantly and constantly and constantly to this other person, they will not feel happy. They will feel frustrated because they're not able to finish what they want to say without having somebody to interrupt them. Somebody has to interrupt them when they're saying something. And that is not a nice thought. Imagine if you're talking to somebody and you're constantly getting interrupted. That doesn't feel nice, does it? So don't interrupt anybody when you're having a conversation. Now, people's favorite words are me, myself, and I. That's what we love saying the most. Deep down, we all love saying that. We all love talking about ourselves deep down. And when you're talking to somebody, don't talk about yourself. Because if you're just constantly yapping on about how you do this, who you are, what you do in life, what are your valuable things, what are your negatives, what are your positives, if you're just going to be talking about these things, about just yourself, then that kind of tells you that you don't care about the other person. We love talking about ourselves. Everyone does that. However, when you're talking to somebody, actually talk to them about themselves. Genuinely talk to them about themselves. Ask them questions about themselves. But the most important thing here is you have to be interested in them. You have to be interested in what it is that they're talking to you about. Because if you're not interested, then your attention is going to divert. And it's going to be hard for you to stay focused if you're not even interested in that topic, first of all. If you're not interested in the subject of that conversation, you're not going to be focused in that other person's view. You're not. They will tell that you're not so interested because you're looking elsewhere, doing other things while talking to them, and they will feel that you don't really care about what they say. And so that also means which people you should be around and which people you shouldn't be. So when you're talking to somebody, talk to them about themselves. Ask them questions. For example, if you want to get a mentor, you're trying to network, and you see this certain individual, instead of going to him and asking him questions on how he can help you solve this problem, just you, and not him, then he's gonna just feel that you're just extracting value but giving nothing in return. That's what he would feel. And so you would have to build some sort of connection with him, right? Therefore, you would have to talk to him about who he is. And this doesn't mean you just show up there, just ask him random questions about himself. You would introduce yourself, he would introduce himself, and then you can just take the conversation on from there. You can ask him about what he does, his life, and so on. And he's gonna tell you something. And you may ask him more questions on certain parts if you're really interested. In that way, you're not going to run out of conversation ever. If you just talk about certain things within some sort of topic, a conversation leading to another, you're not going to run out of things to say in a conversation. And if you're actually interested in what this person was talking about, and you meet this person in the future, maybe the next day, maybe the next 2 weeks or so, you meet this person in the future and you mention something that they told you, they will be kind of shocked. They will respect you because they will feel remembered. They will feel heard. They will feel that somebody cared enough to know what they're like. Honestly, sometimes for me, if I'm talking to somebody and they're asking me questions about something, I'll tell them whatever it is that they're asking. But after a while, when they mention that back to me, sometime later, could be 1 week, could be 2 weeks later, when they mention it back to me, I get shocked. I get surprised because I don't expect people to remember what I tell them because of how short our attention spans are these days, which is why I don't expect them to remember. They will like and respect that you cared enough about them to remember what they said. That means you care about them as a person. Actually, in this very book by Dale Carnegie, he talks about this very thing. You have to be interested in the person. You have to be interested in what they're saying. Care about them. Show genuine interest. And this is how you build good connections with people. And that shows that you're a good listener. So read this book. It's a very valuable book. And in your conversation with a certain individual, you can talk about yourself. Only if they are asking you something, maybe they've asked you, have you had this experience before? And you can then share what you have experienced. That's one scenario. Otherwise, don't just proactively talk about yourself to somebody. And even if they didn't ask for it in the first place, if there is a certain context in that conversation which may prompt you to bring that up. But again, you don't have to, then you don't need to do that. Because again, it's just you just want to talk about yourself again and again and again. That is it. Because we are here to improve your listening skills. We are here to improve your listening skills. So don't say, well, I should ask somebody about themselves, but they can't ask about me. The point here is to improve your listening skills, not to improve theirs. They want to do that, that's on them. But here we're trying to help you improve your listening skills. If you're talking to somebody at work, if you're talking to a relative of yours, or a stranger in the street, or your friends, if you're talking to somebody and they're just constantly talking about themselves, let's say you're genuinely asking them questions, you're genuinely interested. But let's say they're talking about that and they don't ask you anything about you, nothing. That kind of shows you something. Because you're interested when you're talking to them in what they have to say. But it's not the same vice versa. Because here you feel that you're hearing what they say, but you yourself don't feel heard. They don't care enough to ask you about yourself. They don't care about showing interest in you. They just don't. So that you kind of feel bad about it. And that kind of tells you something. If this individual is worth talking to, if this individual is worth building a connection with. Because it has to be a fair exchange of value between two people when they're communicating. Now, you will not see yourself talk to somebody. It has to be equal share of value. The moment you feel that somebody else is taking more value from you than you are getting from them, that is not a healthy relationship. That's parasitical. One is getting benefit while the other one is not. Actually being harmed mentally. Because you're just giving, but you're getting nothing in return. So it always has to be equal. And you have to focus on your skills here, because we're not here to improve the other skills. And only you can change yourself. They can change themselves. You cannot help changing them. And neither can they help changing you. So only you can help changing yourself. Remember that. In my own life, some of the best connections I've had with people is when I was actually interested in what they have to say, and they were as well in me. At work, I have a friend of mine at work, and we talk about religion most of the time. We talk about what's going on in our lives, we talk about our values sometimes, and I'm interested in those things. So I would ask him questions on whatever conversation we're having. I will be genuinely interested in what he has to say. I remember certain things he's told me before. And he asks me the same as well. Some of the true, genuine connections I've had with people is when I felt simply just being heard, or that I made them feel heard. It is that simple. If you apply whatever I have told you earlier in this video, if you apply any of those things, actually all of those things, you are going to drastically change your listening skills. You're going to improve it a lot. This is how you build great connections. This is how you build relationships. This is how you gain mentors. This is how you build friendships. This is how you deal with business, work. The core to building a relationship with anybody is to have good listening skills. In a heated argument, being loving to somebody, talking to someone. So apply whatever I've said to you and see how that changes your life.